Hello, people. Very good evening to everyone. Yes, people, can you see me?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, great. So I was just having my dinner. I thought people would join. So in the meantime, people, what you can do is a session which is very similar to what I had taken, I think the one before this, because last time I had taken idioms and phrases, and we had taken a look at some of the questions in which idiom was used, and then the meaning or the correct meaning of the idiom was to be identified from the given options. So today we have questions which are again of similar nature, but with vocabulary based in the blanks. Plenty of questions come in IPMAT of this kind. So I want all of you to take the first two questions. And once we have finished this, I will scroll it down and let's take all the 4-5 questions, and then we will discuss them in one shot. Will that work for you people? Right?
Yes, sir.
So once you are done, please tell me. I will scroll the sheet so that I can go down to the bottom. Please start. Yes, people, answer for the first question. What do you think? This poetry
Democratic.
dash, it is more likely. Now, one thing very important, people, just keep in mind. Do you see the semicolon here? Everyone?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Purpose of semicolon. It is almost equivalent to a full stop. A semicolon is almost the same as a full stop. The only difference is that you use semicolon when the two ideas are very closely connected. So example, if I have to give an example, uh, Shakespeare is my favorite author. Macbeth is one of is my favorite play. So Shakespeare is my favorite author, semicolon, and Macbeth is one of my favorite plays. Now, if you ask me, you can separate these two ideas either with a full stop or with a semicolon. They are almost the same. But if there are two ideas which are slightly disconnected, there is no need of a semicolon. For example, if you want to say that, let's say, I was born in Delhi, full stop. I did my schooling from, let's say, Mumbai. So these two ideas are not so closely connected. So when the ideas are very closely connected, such that one is explaining the other, then you can use a semicolon. Okay? So this poetry is not dash. I don't know what it means. It is more likely to appeal to an international audience than is poetry with strictly regional themes. So can I say the meaning that you put here should be equal to what has come here? Yes or no? Or should basically be in sync with what has come in this here, in this highlighted part? Which option do you think is the best? This poetry is not dash. Does A work?
Democratic.
Not democratic. Acha, how many
Sir,
of you know the meaning of the word provincial? What is the meaning of the word provincial? Anyone?
Different divisions.
So regional, same as regional.
Regional. Yes, correct. Same as regional. Provincial means regional. जैसे इंडिया में movies होती हैं, तो of course Bollywood is not a regional film industry. It spans across India. But there is Telugu film industry, there is Tamil film industry. So can I say these have provincial audience or regional audience? Everyone agrees that Tamil industry has provincial audience, so has Bhojpuri industry. So all these will have regional audience. So this poetry is not dash, it is likely to appeal to an international audience. So that means basically what you have here should be the opposite of international. Yes or no? Everyone agrees with it? This poetry is not dash, it is likely to appeal to international audience. That means this is something which is not domestic, it is international. So the only word that can match here is provincial. Provincial is basically the opposite of international. Yes or no? Everyone?
Yes, sir.
So can I say E fits better than B? B sounds
Yes.
good. B sounds good. Arey yaar, this poetry is not democratic. It is more likely to appeal to international audience. But even if it sounds good, it has to have some tangible meaning. What has democracy to do with appealing to international audience? This poetry is not democratic. It is likely to appeal to international audience. If it is democratic, it will appeal to everyone. So it does not make sense to me. But when I say this poetry is not provincial, this means what? That this movie is not having any regional thing. It is meant for international audience. E is correct. Clear to everyone, people? How we have fit the word in such a way that the complete sentence makes logical connection. So send part 1 and part 2, they make logical connect. Clear to everyone, people? This is very, very important in fill in the blank. Because if you look at the IPMAT question that we discussed of the past year papers, you will find that there are questions, if you click on, if you get the logic very quickly, you can get those questions correct in less than 60 seconds. So that can be a scoring area for you. Please take the second question.
E.
Okay, I'm waiting for the others. Please try. I have not given the answer. Please try. Experienced employers recognize that business students who can dash different points of view are more effective. Understand this. Experienced employers recognize that business students of some kind are more effective. What kind of people would be more effective? The ones who discredit, the ones who impose, the ones who disregard, the ones who advocate, or the ones who assimilate? You can do a very, very good job by simply looking at the first part of the story.
Sir,
What do
B.
you think? क्या बोला लक्ष्य आपने?
Assimilate, sir.
Okay, तो लक्ष्य ने कहा कि the one who can assimilate different points of view are more effective. Logical है ना? Everyone believes that?
Yes, sir.
Of course. So you can remove all the negative meaning. Discredit goes out. Disregard goes out. Advocate चल जाएगा. You advocate means you basically promote. Impose, does it make sense here?
No, sir.
Impose means doing something forcefully, है कि नहीं? जबरदस्ती किया जा रहा है. See, I can suggest, I can't impose my views. So if discredit is negative, if disregard is negative, even impose is equally negative. Because people who impose different points of view will not be liked by others. So I have three options straight away going out. Advocate से better है assimilate. Advocate वो होता है जो खाली बोलता है. Assimilate वो है जो actually उसका absorb करता है. You might advocate the views of Mahatma Gandhi, but someone who assimilates his views would be a better person. Yes or no? You advocate your father's belief or the belief of your guru, but there is someone who has assimilated the belief of his guru. Who is better? The one who assimilates. क्योंकि जो एसिमिलेट करता है ना वो खुद के अंदर पूरा निचोड़ ले लेता है. एडवोकेट खाली बोलने वाला आदमी होता है, इसलिए बोलता है ना ही इज माय एडवोकेट, मतलब आगे बड़बड़ कर रहा है, पैसा मिला उसको. सो आउट ऑफ ऑल द ऑप्शंस बी इज द बेस्ट. Clear to everyone, people? Am I right?
Yes, sir.
One very important word I want to know from you. What is the meaning of the word dogmatically?
Sir,
Sir,
doctrine.
who does not want to be contradicted?
Okay. अच्छा, डॉगमेटिकली का मतलब कोई एग्जांपल दोगे मेरे को? डॉगमेटिकली का मतलब पता है क्या होता है? बिना किसी की सुने. मतलब मेरे दिमाग में एक बात घुसी हुई है, मैं किसी की और सुनूंगा नहीं. आई विल स्टिक टू दैट. तो आप क्या बोलोगे मेरे को? सर, यू आर डॉगमेटिकली स्टिकिंग टू योर पॉइंट ऑफ व्यू. डॉगमेटिकली का मतलब ये होता है कि छोड़ना ही नहीं है. डॉगमा, देखो, द वर्ड डॉगमेटिकली कम्स फ्रॉम द वर्ड डॉगमा. डॉगमा क्या होता है? डॉगमा इज देयर इन रिलीजन. जैसे अभी सपोज इन रिलीजन इफ देयर इज समथिंग गिवन कि भाई इसको ऐसा करना है, तो लोग बोलते हैं ठीक करना है इसको. देयर इज नो क्वेश्चनिंग ऑफ दैट. सो आवर रिलीजियंस आर फुल ऑफ डॉगमा. Or there might be certain institutions that would basically have dogmatic approach towards something. Don't allow anyone to question. That is what we call as dogma. A belief that is not allowed to be critically examined by others. समझ में आया कि नहीं? Did you understand now?
Yes, sir.
So there are people who assimilate others' point of view and therefore they are effective. Then those who adhere, adhere का मतलब एकदम चिपक के रहना. Adhere means adherence नहीं होता. You adhere to certain things, certain norms. So there are people who adhere dogmatically to their own formulations. They would not be very much liked. Discredit. To give credit means to give श्रेय देना, है ना? जैसे कि the BJP always tries to discredit the achievements of Prime Minister Manmohan Singh. आए दिन they keep on telling कि कांग्रेस में ये खराब हुआ, नेहरू ने ये गलती की थी. What are they trying to do? They are trying to discredit the achievements of Pandit Nehru or discredit the achievements of Manmohan Singh, or maybe some other party will try to discredit the achievements of BJP. So BJP might have done something good. The Congress will come and say, यार ये नहीं किया, वो नहीं किया, तो पहले से था, ये तो और खराब हो गया. So to discredit means to take the credit away or to do something in such a way that you take the credit away from someone. Revert means reply, assimilate means to absorb, impose means you know. All the words are clear. ठीक है? A tough question, huh? Third one is a tough question. Please try third one. Can you see the question or should I just shift it? Chalo. The significance of Magna Carta, पता नहीं क्या है, lies not in its X, but in something else. So this word but shows there are two contrasting ideas. Yeah.
Yes, sir.
The significance of Magna Carta lies not in its dash, but in its broader impact. So can I say whatever you put here should be somewhat opposite to broad?
Yes, sir.
Take a name. Somewhat like this. I mean, not necessarily always opposite, but somewhat opposite, because only then you can justify the word but. So you can say that the pleasure of life or the meaning of life lies not in its length, but in its depth. आपने क्या कहा? The meaning of life lies not in its length, but in its depth. So you might ask me, sir, how length and depth are opposite? They're not opposite. But what it suggests is that if you take life as a length in number of years, then depth would be not the length, but basically the quality of life you live every day. Yes or no? Or maybe your own experience. So if every day you are experiencing something richer and better, then your depth is very, very far greater. Your number of years may be very small. So when you have two ideas, they may not be exactly black and white, but for the word but to be justified, we have to ensure that they should be somewhat contradictory or opposite to each other, such that the word but is justified. So what do you think could be the word that is slightly opposite to the word broader impact?
Finite.
Okay. कोई और word?
So specific and finite.
Finite ठीक है, एक option finite है. What about specific? Specific का मतलब क्या होता है?
Particular.
Particular. तो मैग्ना कार्टा क्या रहा होगा? Some document or some sort of legal document. उसमें specific provisions दिए होते हैं. So the significance was not in its specific provisions, but in its broader impact. Makes sense. Revolutionary, no. Because if you put revolutionary here, then it has nothing to do with broader impact. Yes or no? Implicit, but the opposite of implicit is explicit. That also goes out. Controversial and broad impact are not two opposite ideas, nowhere connected, I would say. So eventually we have only two choices. One is specific and the other is finite. So out of the two, we have to select one. Yes or no? Finite provisions hoga. Finite provisions. What do you mean by finite?
Limited, confined.
Confined in terms of number. Confined in terms of number. I have a finite. I don't have infinite coupon code. We have finite number of coupon code. Something like this. So finite provision means it could be even huge number. Finite doesn't mean that the number is small. Are you getting my point? Finite does not mean that the number is small. Finite basically means the number is fixed. So even Bill Gates has finite amount of money, even though that amount, finite amount, might be a huge amount. Yes or no? So can I say that the better word is specific and not finite? Because even a finite thing could be broad. But the author says the significance is not in a specific provisions, but look at the broader impact. Did you understand, people, everyone?
Yes, sir.
The rest of the words are very simple. There is no need for us to go into that. The fourth question, please try. Again, there are difficult words. The purpose I'm making you solve this question is not that I want to show that you know nothing. The idea is that if we take these kind of questions, your vocabulary will become much better. You will have lots of words, because if I take very simple questions, then the words would be known to you already. So there is no value addition happening from my end. Now, there are many words in this. Can you tell me which ones you don't know? What is the meaning of the word oscillate? Oscillate क्या होता है?
Moving from one point to the another.
Point से इस point.
Sir, to and fro movement.
To and fro है, लेकिन उसका है ना, एक एंड है, दूसरा एंड है ये. मतलब oscillate क्या होता है ना, कि जैसे आपने कहा कि since 1813 reaction to Jane Austen's novels has oscillated between dash and dash. तो आप बोलोगे सर ठीक है, between x and y है, तो ये x and y क्या होंगे? Similar होंगे या opposite होनी चाहिए?
Opposite.
Of course oscillation हो रहा है ना, तो एक एंड पे अगर कंडिसेंशन, दूसरे एंड पे कुछ और होगा, और जो होगा वो थोड़ा इसका ऑपोजिट होगा. Since 1813 reaction to Jane Austen's novels has oscillated between dash and condescension. So condescension का मतलब क्या होता है? मैंने आपको ये वर्ड शायद बताया था पहले कि descent का मतलब नीचे आना, नीचे देखना. So when someone looks at you with a condescending look, इसका मतलब वो आपको नीचा देख रहा है बहुत. Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
Condescending glance, condescending smile होता है. Condescension यहाँ पे noun बन गया है. So it is not that the meaning has changed. So the reaction between the novels has oscillated between good, I don't know the word, and bad. Why bad? Because condescension is always negative. So which can be the first blank for you? Dismissal तो नहीं होगा. Dismissal तो नहीं होगा, because dismissal is anyways a positive, a negative word. Disapproval भी negative है. Approbation हो सकता है. Approbation is approval. But is approval more positive than adoration?
No.
Approval is passive. ठीक है, approval है मेरा, it's just like giving permission. But adoration is far more deeper than approbation. Indifference, neither positive nor negative. Approbation is just approval. ठीक है, मैं object नहीं कर रहा हूँ. But adoration is basically wholehearted embrace. So can I say that B should be the answer based on the first blank itself? Yes or no? Everyone agrees with it? That this question was not so difficult as it might appear, as it might have appeared at the start. Since 1813, reaction to Jane Austen's novels has oscillated between adoration and condescension. Adoration is love, condescension is, criticism or looking down upon something. But in general, later writers have esteemed her works more highly than did most of her literature contemporary. What is another word, contemporary? Anyone? Contemporary कौन होता है? Who is your
So something relating to the present generation.
हाँ, कौन का मतलब साथ में, हमेशा याद रखना. कौन का मतलब साथ में. टेम्पररी मतलब टेम्पोरल, थोड़ी देर के लिए. So your contemporaries are the ones who are there with you for a short while. So Mahatma Gandhi and Pandit Nehru could be contemporaries, though there was a difference of almost 20 years between them. Because they lived in the same era, maybe a little here and there. So your contemporaries are those who are there with you, maybe 5, 7, 10, 20 years आगे पीछे. Please take the fifth question. Fifth is a very, very easy question, but you need to not know the meaning, but the logic of the sentence to find the answer. Please take this question. And then we'll take the next one. Please take both fifth and sixth. I'll just give me 2-3 minutes. Please take both fifth and sixth. Yes, people
Done,
answer.
sir.
Answer for the fifth question. What do you think?
Exacerbated.
What is the meaning of exacerbated? Anyone?
To make something even worse.
Very, very important word, people. These are the kind of words that you must know. It's so common in newspapers. You know, it basically means, as you told, as someone said, to worsen. So good example would be that you can say that Delhi's pollution is anyway Delhi's pollution levels are quite bad, and the burning of the farm stubble further exacerbates the problem in the month of November. That's why you have so much of smog. So it was her view that the country's problems had been dashed by foreign technocrats. Now, if you look at this sentence independently, it can mean anything. I don't know. There is no clue given to me. It was her view that the country's problem had been solved, or had been complicated, or had been left as it is by foreign technocrats. If you look only at the highlighted part of the sentence, I can fit any word if I want. That means the clue is not there in this part of the paragraph. The clue is there in the other part of the sentence. And what is that? So that to invite them to come back would be counterproductive. That means in the first blank, you must have something negative. That's the reason why the author says that inviting them back would be counterproductive. Productive means positive, and counterproductive means opposite of productive. So that is not positive, a loss, right? So from this, we get to know that the best answer is exacerbate. Because only exacerbate is a negative word. All the other words are positive. If someone can foresee your problem, that means they are able to predict what the problem would be. So in that case, they are doing a good job. If someone has attacked your problems, that means he's able to solve the problem, because attacking a problem means getting rid of it. And if someone is ascertaining the problem, it is as good as foreseen. And if someone is analyzing the problem, what's so bad about it? So D is the best answer if you look at go by the options. So these are the kind of question that might come in the exam. Easy and doable. Clear to everyone? I think it was a very easy one. Let's not waste time.
Yes,
Answer
sir.
sixth question. What do you think?
Virtuosity.
I think I had taken this word before. Long time back,
Yes, sir.
I had given you 2-3 words, and one of the word I had given you was virtue. And I had told you that there's a word virtue, there's a word virtuous, and there's a word virtuoso. If you remember. So again, we have come in the domain of confusing word. So virtue का मतलब क्या होता है? A good quality. A good quality. So I can say that, and particularly moral quality. Yeah? Virtue मतलब morally होता है. If you are a very, very good artist, it is not that you are virtuous. You are a virtuoso. That's a different word now. Okay? So someone who has very good moral qualities, that person can be called as a person full of virtue. And if you want to make it an adjective, you can say virtuous. Okay? Full of virtue means full of virtue, good quality, moral quality, noun. Virtue is noun. A very virtuous person, adjective. The virtuoso is someone who is an accomplished artist, particularly in drawing or singing or music. So that is the word we use. So virtuoso, if he does something with great this, then that would be called as virtuosity. And by virtue का मतलब होता है because of. By virtue means what? Because of. So understand this. So Vincent Mackay, the cartoonist, could draw with incredible what? Virtuosity. Now many people, they mark words like efficiency. Now if you look at the word efficiency, people, efficiency does not go well with art. It goes well with machines.
Yes,
so
sir.
जहां मशीन है वहां पे efficiency है ना. I love my father efficiently. Oh, you're loving your father efficiently, and I don't understand how come efficiency has become part of love. So there are certain words which don't go very well with certain, adjectives and certain context. So efficiency goes out. Rapidity draw करने में कौन सा incredible हो गया यार, कुछ भी बना दो. So if someone is drawing with incredible rapidity, what's so great about it? But if he is doing with great virtuosity, means there is some artistic quality and expertise involved. Energy में भी कौन सी बड़ी बात है? You could draw with incredible energy. Now drawing में कौन सी energy चाहिए यार? Just tell me, if you're drawing something with a pencil or a paintbrush, you are doing with great energy. And I don't know. Dancing can happen with great energy because dancing involves movement of the limbs of the body. So you need energy. But in painting and drawing, there is no need of energy. So the whole idea of incredible energy is absurd. अरे ब्लैंक दिया है तो कुछ भी भर दोगे क्या? समझ में आया कि नहीं? थोड़ा क्रिटिकल थिंकिंग भी होना चाहिए ना. आंसर क्या है? 7वें का. व्हाट इज द आंसर ऑफ 7th क्वेश्चन? प्लीज टेक द 7th क्वेश्चन. Easy one, I think. Many words. I'll tell you the meaning of all the words, but please give me the answer first.
Beneficial and enhancing.
Beneficial and enhancing. Okay. Yes, anyone else? वो तो है. The answer is beneficial enhancing. If you look at the words, whenever you see although, it creates a dependent clause. What is dependent clause? Suppose if I say, again, I will take a bit of time because suppose if I say, I am rich, it's a meaningful sentence, perfectly meaningful sentence. I am rich, full stop. Suppose if I say, although I am rich, aren't you waiting for something more to come from me? है ना? If I say I am rich, full stop, most of you would say, अच्छा अच्छी बात है. If I say although I am rich, most of you would wait for something more to come. So whenever you have a dependent clause, it always sounds incomplete. And who is creating the dependent clause? Although. Although the feeding activities of whales and walruses give the seafloor of the Bering Shelf a devastated appearance. So what has come with although? Devastated. So although something gives something a devastated appearance, there must be something opposite of devastated, because although means you need to put some sort of contrasting ideas. So although I am not very good with maths, I think I would be able to clear IPMAT simply by scoring good in English. So the negative idea was, although I am not good in maths. And when you put a comma, I believe that what is going to come is going to be a positive idea. Why? Because you have already put a negative idea. It could be vice versa as well. Although I am quite good in English, I think maths is going to give me a tough time in IPMAT exam. So although the feeding activities of whales give the seafloor a devastated appearance, these activities seem to be actually dashed to the area, beneficial. And enhancing means improving. So it makes perfect sense. Both the words are positive, and that is what we need. What is the meaning of the word superfluous? Have you done this word before? I think we have taken this.
Redundant or useless.
देखो पता है क्या होता है people? जब हम कोई वर्ड लेते हैं ना, वो फिर से कभी न कभी आएगा आपके पास घूम के. So you have to be very, very smart with your memory. Encumbering क्या होता है? Encumbering का मतलब क्या होगा? बताओ. देखो, I will give you a good example. शादी में आजकल तो ठंड का मौसम है, अभी तो ठंड रहा है नहीं, बट most of you would very comfortably feel good wearing a blazer in cold weather. Blazer tie वाई पहन के अच्छा लगता है ना शादी में जाना. अब मान लो कि मई का महीना है, मई एंड में शादी है किसी की. Would you feel going to the wedding wearing all those heavy embroidered clothes? Would you feel good?
No.
है ना. अब हमारे यहाँ पे शादियां होती हैं तो जो ब्राइड होती है उसको इतना लाद देते हैं ना, मतलब दुनिया भर का उसने लहंगा पहन लिया, हैवी, एंड शी इज barely able to walk. The poor bride is not even able to move. So there are people who accompany her. गिर गई तो उठा लेंगे. So encumbered का मतलब होता है burdened, obstructed by, है ना. तो encumbered by, you suppose if you're running a race and you are carrying some sort of bag on your shoulder. So I would say that this is encumbering your flow, or you are encumbered by something. बच्चा स्कूल जा रहा है, छोटा सा बच्चा है 3-4 साल का, बड़ा सा बैग लेके जा रहा है. So he's already encumbered. So encumbering basically means obstructing, stopping, holding you back, something like that. So although the feeding activities of whales and walruses gave the seafloor of the Bering Shelf a devastated appearance, these activities, both the positive words have come. In E, if it is encumbering, then it is not contrasting with the earlier negative. So you need a positive. Encumbering is productivity, मतलब decreasing the productivity. So how can it contrast with devastated? Detrimental है तो harmful है. Harmful है तो इससे contrast कहाँ हो रहा है? Diminishing होगा तो इससे contrast फिर से नहीं होगा. So you feel that every option is not matching except option C, and that is the right answer. You know what is rehabilitative? Rehabilitate का मतलब क्या होता है ना, किसी को basically mentally एक फिर से change कर देना. See, rehabilitative is not always in the medical sense. जैसे for example, आप बीमार हो गए, आपको कोविड हो गया, you are recuperating, but you're not rehabilitating. Recuperation happens only when someone is ill at the physical level. But rehabilitation happens at the mental level. तो किसका होता है rehabilitation? Drug addicts का होता है. Yes or no? देखा होगा ना आपने, वो ड्रग एडिक्ट्स को भेजते हैं rehabilitation. Why? Because वो mentally चला गया है, तो उसकी आदतें सुधारनी है. Mentally, he has to be brought back to normal life. Criminals or juvenile criminals are rehabilitated. So rehabilitative meaning is always in the mental sense, particularly human beings. जो सोसाइटी में रहते हैं, जिनका सोशल थोड़ा सा वो सब खराब हो गया है, ठीक है? Anyways, you know the meaning of the other words. 8th का आंसर क्या होगा? 8, 9, 10 तीनों बताओ क्या होगा आंसर? 8, 9, 10, 10, all the three.
Dominated.
In an age without radio or recording. So ना radio है, ना recording है. So that age is dashed by print. क्या होगा? Of course dominated होगा. Because ना radio है, ना recording है, तो है क्या फिर? If fiction is gaining its ascendancy, देखो ascend का मतलब क्या होता है? ऊपर उठना. Ascending order means what? Lower, lower, higher, higher, and then it goes up. So in age without radio or recording, an age dominated by print, fiction gain its greatest ascendancy. You will achieve the highest form or peak only when you dominate. That's why we need to have the word dominated. What is denigrated? Can anyone, what is, you know what is decimate? Murder. खत्म कर देना, उसको बोलते हैं decimate. Denigrate का मतलब क्या होता है? कोई बताएगा मेरे को? Anyone? What is denigrate? To deliberately bring defame to someone, है ना? जैसे कई बार क्या होता है ना कि आप देखो कि सोशल मीडिया पे ना बहुत सारे लोग जो है वो जबरदस्ती किसी का इमेज खराब करते हैं, उसका जो कैरेक्टर होता है उसको स्पॉइल करते रहते हैं, उसको बोलते हैं डेनिग्रेट. टू डेनिग्रेट बेसिकली मींस समथिंग दैट इज गुड उसको खराब प्रूफ करना और खराब दिखाना जानबूझ के. Did you understand now? Denigrate. See, something is bad and you tell that it is bad, that is not denigration. But if something is good and you tell it is bad just to spoil the reputation of that thing, that is denigration. Clear to everyone, people? Please understand the usage of the word because the tone ultimately changes. For example, in Soviet Union, the government tries to denigrate the virtues of capitalism. Everyone agrees that this is meaningful.
Yes, sir.
Meaningful है ना? In Soviet Union, because Soviet Union is a communist country and communists hate capitalists. So even if capitalism has certain good qualities in it, because you are a communist and you are of communist ideology, you would do everything to denigrate capitalism. चाहे उसका कोई भी अच्छाई क्यों ना हो, आप उसको बदनाम करोगे. What is resurrect? To resurrect means to bring back to life. To resurrect means to bring back to life. So if something has gone dead and if that is brought back to life, we call it as resurrection. फिर से जिंदा करना. No. The Hindu-Muslim debate is being resurrected by the RSS so that the BJP has upper hand in the elections. So the Hindu-Muslim thing might have, happened sometime in the long past. लोग भूल गए उसको. मरी चीज है. But some political leaders would try to bring it back to life. So you're trying to resurrect. Did you understand? अभी आजकल मूवीज ब्लैक एंड व्हाइट में आती है, फोटोग्राफी सॉरी आजकल मूवीज कलर में आती है, फोटोग्राफी कलर में होते हैं, बट किसी ने स्टार्ट किया ब्लैक एंड व्हाइट फोटोग्राफ, तो आप क्या बोलोगे? द ब्लैक एंड व्हाइट टेक्नोलॉजी इज बीइंग रेजरेक्टेड बाय सम पीपल. 9th का आंसर क्या है? Please tell me. Not a difficult question in terms of vocabulary, but in terms of usage, you have to be very logical to get the answer. And what comes to you would definitely be logical. Tell me.
Underrate.
Underrate. Yes or no? if someone comes to you or in front of you like a beggar, don't you think you will underrate his wealth? The discovery that friction excluded all bodies fall at the same rate is so simple. If something is so simple, you try to underestimate it. If something is complicated, you try to exaggerate. है ना? So underrate is correct. Praise, eliminate, reassess, all these go out. I hope this you have understood this. 10th question.
Sir, B.
Their mutual teasing seemed dash, but in fact, it dashed a long-standing hostility. It seemed friendly. That's why you have put the word but. Because hostility and something will only make sense if there is hostility will make sense with but only if there is something contrasting here. The paper seemed easy, but in fact it was very dash. तो आप बोलोगे डिफिकल्टी होगा ना, बट अभी मैं बट को मैं एंड बनाता हूं. The paper seemed easy and indeed it was. Yes or no? ऐसे ही होगा ना? The
Yes,
paper
sir.
seemed easy and indeed it was. The paper seemed easy, but in fact, अब आपको समझ में आ गया टोन से, but यूज हुआ, इसका मतलब कुछ और होगा. इनफैक्ट से कोई फर्क नहीं पड़ रहा है. The paper seemed easy and in fact it was. The paper seemed easy, but in fact it was not. So in fact is not going to create a problem because in fact का मतलब क्या होता है? हकीकत. हकीकत सेम भी हो सकती है, अलग भी हो सकती है. The magic is done by the word but. That's why the answer is B. Everyone clear with this? Please take 11th question.
Sir, D.
Okay. In the British theatre,
Trouble.
okay. देखो आपने को क्या समझने मालूम है क्या? In the British theatre, young people under 35 have not had much dash getting recognition on stage. अब ये तो मुझे क्लियर है. They had not had much dash getting success भी हो सकता है, कुछ भी हो सकता है. It can go positive, it can go negative. I don't know because in the British theatre, young people under 35 have not had much, कुछ भी हो सकता है ना, much success or much trouble in getting recognition. I don't know. But when I go here, then I realize why. But है ना, but offstage in the ranks of playwrights, directors, designers, they have mostly been relegated to obscurity. Now, इसका मतलब बहुत जरूरी है. If you know the meaning of this, then you would be able to mark the answer. What is relegated to? Anyone? And what is obscurity? What is obscure? Obscure का मतलब क्या होता है? अंधेरा. So if there is something obscure or if there is obscurity, that means there is invisibility, दिखता नहीं है ना, है कि नहीं? In the British theatre, young people under 35 have not had much dash getting recognition on stage, but off stage they have mostly been relegated to darkness. और relegate का मतलब पता है क्या होता है? जैसे for example, if you are having a high rank in something, but if you are put behind, you are relegated. So relegated and delegated are basically similar, opposite. When you are delegated means you are given a responsibility. So delegate नहीं आते हैं मीटिंग में, गवर्नमेंट के उसमें मीटिंग में delegates आते हैं. So delegates are those who have the responsibility and they have power. So you delegate, और क्या बोलते हैं, authority. Authority is delegated to people. But when you are relegated means authority is taken away from you. So for example, you look at the old politicians, when they become old, they are thrown out, they are forgotten. So Lal Krishna Advani of the BJP is no more remembered. Even Murli Manohar Joshi, no one remembers them. So they have been relegated to obscurity. Why? Because they have become very old. So इसका मतलब क्या होगा? In the British theatre, young people under 35 have not had much trouble getting recognition on stage, but off stage they have been relegated to some sort of obscurity. मतलब उनको पीछे फेंक दिया गया, जहां से वो दिखते भी नहीं है. Did you understand, everyone?
Yes, sir.
है ना? अच्छा क्वेश्चन था. मतलब कोई भी वर्ड डिफिकल्ट नहीं है. मतलब the only word that you had to know was the word obscurity. If you know the meaning of the word obscurity, आपको फट समझ में आएगा इसका मीनिंग क्या है. But off stage they have been mostly, obscurity means अंधेरा है, तो इसका मतलब on stage में अंधेरा नहीं था, यानी positivity थी. Something like this. You always have to use your common sense and all these things to get the answer correct. Common sense, intuition, lots of things play a role apart from your knowledge. See, knowledge is something fine, but in this kind of MCQs, you mark 30 to 40% of the questions based on some sort of hunch. 12th question, please try 12th one.
Sir, D.
Okay. D, okay. An institution concerned about its reputation is at the mercy of the action of its members. So for example, you are a member of a certain group. So can I say the reputation of the group is at the mercy of the actions of its members? भाई family का जो reputation है वो किस पे depend करता है? The action of the members of the family. Because the misdeeds of the individuals are often used to dash the institutions of which they are a part. अगर आप misdeed करोगे कोई गलत action, तो reform करने के लिए use होता है या discredit करने के लिए या honor करने के लिए? Of course, discredit. Any misdeed that you do in your family would be taken as a point to discredit the reputation of your family. Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
इससे word वही आ गया. तो क्या होता है पता है, वोकेबलरी में एक चीज जो लोग मुझसे बार बार बोलते हैं, सर मेरे को वर्ड याद नहीं होता, मैं क्या करूं? मैं कहता हूँ यार, याद करने की जरूरत क्या है? पढ़ते रहो भाई. हर चेहरा देखते हो तो याद करते हो कि अरे हाँ चेहरा देख लो इसका, भूल जाऊंगा मैं. चेहरा देख के आप आगे बढ़ जाते हो. So the way when you look at a face, you don't try to remember it forcefully. Similarly, when you look at a word, it is only to remember it forcefully. 3-4 बार देखोगे तो अपने आप याद हो जाएगा. ठीक है. There's a word coerce. इसका मतलब क्या होता है? What is coercion? जबरन, जबरदस्ती, है ना? कई बार ऐसा होता है ना कि क्या होता है ना, कोर्स नहीं होता है, मतलब
सर
सपोज
किसी से काम करवाना जबरदस्ती।
प्रॉपर्टी डिस्प्यूट है घर में, दो भाई हैं, बूढ़ी माँ, the mother has become very old, she can hardly see here, so the younger brother who was very smart coerced his mother to sign the property papers on his name. The mother is not willing to do, but the younger brother is coercing her. To coerce means to force, जबरदस्ती कर देना कुछ चीज करने के लिए जो मेरी मर्जी के खिलाफ है. So you know some friends coerce you to smoke. अरे चलना यार, मारना क्या है, चल पकड़ पकड़, हाथ में पकड़ा के डाल देते मुंह में. So they are coercing you to drink, to smoke. जबरन जबरदस्ती करना. What is intimidate? To scare. तो वो timid दिख रहा है ना आपको? Timid का मतलब क्या होता है? जो आसानी से डर जाए, right? तो जो आसानी से डर जाता है वो timid होता है. तो what is the verb form of it? To intimidate. Did you understand now? Timid is an adjective. To make it a verb, you say to intimidate. Intimidating. Intimidated. Did you understand now? Now you will never forget this word. Timid, जो डर जाता है. Intimidate, डरा देना. हाँ? You're trying to intimidate me. Last question, 13th कर लो, बाकी का अपन next time कर लेंगे. 13th question बहुत अच्छा question है. I want to see how many of you have that sense.
सी।
A.
Okay, C. सबको C लग रहा है क्या?
No, sir. A.
ओके, थोड़ा सा दिमाग लगाओ तो बताओ कि क्या होगा. ए और सी में से आंसर होना चाहिए. जस्ट टेल मी व्हिच इज मोर कन्विंसिंग इन द लॉजिकल सेंस.
Sir, A is more convincing because of susceptibility.
अच्छा मुझे बताओ कि व्हाट इज ससेप्टेबल.
Sir, being more prone to something.
ससेप्टेबल का मतलब क्या होता है उनमें क्या? जैसे फॉर एग्जांपल आई विल गिव यू अ गुड एग्जांपल. हम सब लोग धूप में जाते हैं खेलने के लिए, तो एक दो लोग ऐसे हैं जो आधे घंटे में हीट स्ट्रोक लग गया. कुछ लोग हैं 3 घंटे से खेल ही रहे हैं, कोई फर्क नहीं पड़ा है. कैन आई से यू आर मोर ससेप्टेबल टू हॉट वेदर?
Yes, sir.
मतलब समथिंग लाइक दिस. तो द सेंटेंस इज नॉट करेक्ट, but you are more susceptible to hot weather or vulnerable to allergies. So since you were brought up in a very क्या बोलते हैं उसको, in a very safe and clean environment, you have got many allergies and you are susceptible to some of the, let's say, virus and bacteria that are there in unclean places. Susceptible to vulnerable, simple. तो अब यहाँ पर क्या होगा? Since many casual smokers develop lung cancer and many dash do not, so the opposite of casual could be heavy, habitual, regular, but devoted तो नहीं होगा ना. Devoted smoker, जैसे कोई भक्ति भावना है अंदर. So don't use the word devoted, particularly for smoking. You can devote yourself to something, but not to smoking. That's not right. So heavy smokers हो सकता है. Chronic smoker maybe chronic pain होता है, chronic problem होती है, but ठीक है चलो मान लिया. Habitual भी कोई दिक्कत नहीं है. Since many casual smokers develop lung cancer and many dash do not, scientists believe that individuals differ in their dash. अब जो कैजुअली स्मोक करता है उसको कैंसर हो जाता है, जो बहुत हैवी कर लेता है उसको नहीं होता। इसका मतलब डिफरेंस कहां पर है? ससेप्टिबिलिटी में है ना।
Yes, sir.
एक्सपोजर तो जिसमें कम है उसको नहीं होना चाहिए। जिसमें कम है, जो कैजुअल स्मोकर है उसका एक्सपोजर कम हो गया, और जो सबसे जो हैवी स्मोकर है, रेगुलर स्मोकर है, उसका ज्यादा होना चाहिए ना एक्सपोजर। सो हाउ आर दे डिफरिंग इन देयर एक्सपोजर? their exposure is different, but they are differing not in the exposure, they are differing in the susceptibility. That's the reason why the one who is smoking less is contracting, the one who is not contracting, or something like this. I hope you have got why answer is A. Everyone?
Yes, sir.
अच्छा क्वेश्चन नहीं है, डिफिकल्ट नहीं है। मतलब डिफिकल्ट इन द सेंस, क्रॉनिक का मतलब क्या होता है? जो हमेशा एवर प्रेजेंट। क्रॉनिक प्रॉब्लम्स नहीं होती लाइफ में, क्रॉनिक पेन होता है, क्रॉनिक डिसीज भी होते हैं, कुछ चीजें ऐसी होती हैं जो जाती नहीं है, क्रॉनिक है। मतलब जैसे फॉर एग्जांपल दिल्ली हैज क्रॉनिक शॉर्टेज ऑफ वाटर। आई मीन गिविंग एन एग्जांपल, तो व्हेन यू से दैट दिल्ली हैज क्रॉनिक शॉर्टेज ऑफ वाटर, मतलब पानी की किल्लत हमेशा रहती है। प्रॉक्सिमिटी मींस नियरनेस। आई प्रेफर टू स्टे in this colony because of its proximity to the metro station, है ना। बाकी तो वर्ड आपको पता ही है। तो देखो ये जो सेशन था ना वोकैबुलरी का, ये थोड़ा मैनेजेबल था। This is the kind of difficulty that you can expect in the examination. The one that I had taken earlier, they had very difficult questions. But these ones, the questions are easy, but some of the words are a little dicey here and there. But vocabulary ऐसे ही improve होती है। इसलिए जैसे मैं सेशन लेता हूँ तो आप पेन पेपर लेके बैठे रहो, लिखते रहो, ताकि जो वर्ड मैं बोल रहा हूँ, जो आपको सुनाई दे रहा है, वो आप लिख भी रहे हो। So the chances are very high that the word will go down in your memory for a long time. और यहाँ से कुछ ना कुछ फंस गया एग्जाम में तो मजे हो गए ना यार। 7-8 नंबर का फर्क पड़, 7-8 क्वेश्चन का फर्क पड़ जाएगा, पड़ सकता है आगे। ठीक है पीपल, विल फिनिश द रेस्ट इन द नेक्स्ट सेशन।
Thank you, sir.
ठीक है, अभी एग्जाम चल रहे हैं तुम लोग के ना?
Yes, sir.
कैसे जा रहा है एग्जाम?
सर अभी तो इंग्लिश का हुआ था, अच्छा हुआ वो।
कुछ इससे कुछ फर्क पड़ा क्या? ये सब पढ़ाने से नहीं फर्क होगा ना? आई थिंक वो करिकुलम वाला पेपर होता है, सो यू नो वेरी मच व्हाट इज गोइंग टू कम इन द एग्जाम, आई बिलीव। ठीक है पीपल, सी यू देन, गुड नाइट।